Welcome back to Sleeper Sports Media Podcast, episode 32, Wednesday, November 30th, 2022. This is episode 32 of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast. Once again, I'm Nick Witosh. Today's episode is going to cover a whole bunch of updates in sports, media, entertainment, and anything else, really. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my Facebook group and the Exceptional Sports News Facebook group. That is Sleeper Sports Media and Exceptional Sports News, both on Facebook. A couple news and reports, rumors. The last couple weeks, the month of November, Brittany Griner was moved to a Russian labor work camp in an unknown location. Yellowstone Season 5 kicked off Sunday on Paramount Network and not Paramount Plus. Even though it was advertised as next day streaming on Paramount Plus, you can only watch it on Paramount Network until the season's completely over, and then I'm sure it's going to go on to Peacock. The Walking Dead released a making of the final episode documentary type video Sunday, the same Sunday that I saw Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and the same Sunday that the Paramount Network and Yellowstone came out. The Walking Dead series finale was 10 out of 10. It was a great ending. It ended it exactly how they should have. You couldn't have asked for more. Besides one or two people being in it more. I thought they were going to be in a couple episodes, not just the final episode. But everything that you wanted from the show, we got. And I'm excited for the spinoffs. When I was looking into the series in the last 12 years that it's been on, 21 million people watch the show weekly, and this was said on the documentary type making of the finale. 21 million people watched the show as it was the number one show on TV, and that's insane. I'm gonna miss that show very much. I'm excited for Negan and Maggie and the Daryl spinoffs, as well as Fear the Walking Dead. I'm finally getting into Fear the Walking Dead. Young Rock Season 3 started, and Becky Lynch was in the Season 3, Episode 1, which is kind of a kickstart to her potential and future acting career whenever she's done with the world of wrestling and goes to Hollywood. And Black Adam was the number one movie worldwide for 3 weeks in a row, and it grossed $160 million on its opening weekend. And they said that it needs $540 million to get a sequel, which I'm sure they are going to do anyway, because it did so well in the first couple of weeks, first couple of days, opening weekend, everything. And I don't see how they couldn't do a sequel to probably DC's best movie. And also with the news of them making another Superman with Henry Cavill, I would definitely see The Rock jumping into that as well. Speaking of The Rock level on stars in Hollywood, MJF, 26 years old, already making the jump to Hollywood and still doing professional wrestling as the new AEW World Champion. Now, at the time, I wrote all of my notes and whatnot, what to talk about, what to hit on, before AEW Full Gear, which was a great show, top to bottom, card-wise, everything. He did end up winning and beating Jon Moxley, and tonight I do have some news on Dynamite, which he was on. I only watched Dynamite for him. And he's now in a movie with Zac Efron, and I don't know, it's about an older WWF guy, but he is making the jump to Hollywood already. And he did note that tonight on Dynamite in his promo, when he said that maybe Hollywood will win the bidding wars of 2024. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was out on the 11th, and I saw it Sunday night, which was the 15th, and or 17th, 18th, something like that, and it was great. They honored Chadwick Boseman perfectly. There was a great overall chemistry on screen from all the new cast and the old cast. It was done really well. And I didn't even see the first one, but I enjoyed this one. And I might go give the second one a watch whenever I'm done working crazy amounts of overtime. More Marvel news. Hugh Jackman has agreed to play Wolverine in Deadpool 3, which is officially has no title right now. It's just untitled Deadpool Wolverine movie. Bring both anti-heroes to the MCU, and will also be the first rated R movie in the MCU. Tom Holland has signed a new deal with Marvel and Sony. Will play Spider-Man for 3 more solo movies, as well as the 2 Avengers movies and a Daredevil series on Disney+. This will give him 6 solo movies, which is crazy, and I would love to see Andrew Garfield get his 3rd, as well as bring the other 2 into the next couple of Tom Holland movies, or just some cameos. Also, Spider-Man 5 is rumored to be the addition of Venom and Spider-Man working together along with Daredevil. And DC news, other than Black Adam, John Cena hints at a Peacemaker 2, Season 2, with Instagram post, and is also reported to be at WrestleMania 39. And as much as I would love to see Cena in any capacity, my number one match that I want for WrestleMania 39 is The Rock and Roman, hands down. And now more on that. Logan did fantastic at Crown Jewel. He didn't win, but he did great. And after that, on the next episode of Impulsive, The Boys Only One, he basically said that he texted Triple H already whenever he's ready to go. Hopefully it's by Mania with his injury. He wants to face John Cena at WrestleMania on his birthday. And I think that would be big money. It's already rumored that Cena was going to be there at Mania, and not too long after Crown Jewel, he made an Instagram post with Logan Paul in it, and I think that's just hinting at and speculating that could possibly happen. CM Punk was seen back on the commentary booth for MMA a couple weekends ago, which was leading up to UFC 281, another great show. Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler were match of the night, and Izzy lost. Don't know where CM Punk's going to go in the future-wise, if he's done wrestling or if he's just really taking the time to heal up. There's been so many back-and-forth rumors and reports of AEW wants to buy out his contract. They don't want to buy it out, and he'll immediately go to WWE. He shouldn't. They shouldn't take him back. All these things. I guess we're just going to have to wait to see what the future holds. I would love to see CM Punk in either promotion. Saraya, formerly known as Paige, is 100% cleared and did wrestle, made her in-ring debut at AEW Full Gear. Was great. She got the win over Britt Baker. It was emotional, which made it better than what it looked like in the ring. There were some scary spots with her neck, and she is rusty. That's no doubt about that. But overall was good. The Steelers placed in Chris Boswell on the IR, and he's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. And this was against the Saints game when TJ Watt made his return. He was quoted saying he had full body chills when he made his entrance onto the field at home and in his return. And I think because he was back, the Steelers, I said, would win out in the month of November. And I thought, with the Colts game, it would be exactly what they needed, and they did get the win. But they lost to the Bengals. So winning out in the month of November is not happening, but I don't see any reason why they shouldn't have beat the Bengals or why they should have lost. And I think that they can win out going forward here. Kenny Pickett is our guy. He's the future of Pittsburgh, and Matt Canada needs to go as soon as possible. That was some NFL news. I have more Marvel and Sony They have agreed to terms on a deal to split the rights to other Spider-Man characters, which I think is what Sydney Sweeney is jumping into, that Spider-Verse, the MCU, Sonyverse, all that. Jake Paul and Andrew Tate went viral in less than 4 hours after posting a face-off video. They got up to 12 million views. This was the weekend of UFC 281 and the Deji Floyd fight. The two were reportedly in negotiations, quote unquote, for a fight in 2023. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this was all just for show. And I think he is fighting in February. He has announced that. And he's sent out 3 contracts already. 1 to Tommy Fury, 1 to Nate Diaz, who is finally free of his UFC contract, and 1 to someone he hasn't named yet. Along with KSI fighting Dylan Dennis in January. KSI's next fight is up in the air, and then his third fight of next year will be against Jake Paul, so he says, until the excuses start, which they kind of already have. Tate was quoted saying that his fight against Jake would have to be in Dubai or anywhere besides the United States because he is the devil in America. And I thought KSI and Tyron Woodley were going to fight, but that was just rumors. Woodley won the poll that KSI put up on Twitter about who his next opponent should be, and ultimately he chose Dylan Dennis. And he's been showing videos on Instagram of him saying he's not going to train for this fight, saying that he's going to eat McDonald's in preparation for the fight, and again, not train. And then Dylan Dennis is doing nothing but showing that he's training in MMA. He's doing takedowns and wrestling moves and not training for a boxing fight. I don't know if he's trolling. I don't know if he's actually training for a boxing fight. I don't know. I'm probably not going to buy it. Yeah, I probably am going to buy it just for something to do, because in January I'm going to have actual time on my hands again after I'm done working all my overtime. Again, Logan Paul was supposed to fight Dylan Dennis, and I think if Logan wouldn't have gotten hurt, he would have had the Dennis fight, and then Tyron Woodley would have fought KSI. This was going to be on the Misfits 4 boxing card in January, and now that Logan Paul is hurt with a torn MCL, grade 3 tear in his MCL, that he will possibly need surgery on. He's already starting rehab and is already doing stem cells, and that's why I think his recovery is being so fast, and he's just a workhorse. There was also reports of Andrew Tate saying that Logan Paul does steroids, which is totally false and ridiculous. Any excuse for the top G not to lose his alpha male status and lose to a Disney kid or a YouTuber. Jake Paul stated while at the Mayweather versus Deji boxing event in Dubai that he and Logan are going to go after the Usos and the tag titles. And I would love to see the Pauls versus the Usos. Jake did make his WWE debut at Crown Jewel. It came out to It's Everyday Bro, and it was awesome. I would love to see more of him in the WWE, even if it meant him only there every so often, and to promote his boxing fights. It would be awesome and very entertaining. It would be more entertaining than the jokes of exhibition fights that Floyd's been putting on. After the last fight that he took serious was Logan's, and that was so he didn't lose and didn't get knocked out. Logan has said, and I believe it, I would say it too, if they would fight again, Logan would knock him out for good. And I don't think Floyd will ever take the fight again. I don't think he'll take a fight with Jake because he knows how it's going to end. It's going to end his legacy. Even if it's an exhibition, he gets knocked out, that's an L. The exhibition fights are slightly more entertaining than KSI and his comedy shows mixed in with boxing. Professional wrestling style boxing, it's a joke. That's the influencer side of boxing, and I can see why that would make boxing purists mad and upset. Jake is an actual professional boxer, puts on professional events minus the Triller event, and his promotion, Most Valuable Promotions, is way above anyone else. It's above Global Titans, which once the Tommy Fury and Jake Paul fight, they're not going to get it. It's miles ahead of Misfits and everything KSI does. And Deji posted on Instagram that he made a custom belt for Global Titans, and that's okay, but Jay can't do that for his promotion. That doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, it does, because everyone hates Jake Paul, and it's Jake Paul, so anything he does is automatically discredited and fake and stupid. Logan made a very good point on his predictions of the Floyd Deji fight. He said that he thinks that Floyd's going to let Deji go the distance, so then that discredits Logan going the distance with him, which didn't end up happening. Deji gave it everything he had, got some shots in on Floyd. That could be because Floyd's just getting older, or they were about the same size. Deji was heavier, but he gave it everything he had, and Floyd did end up knocking him down in round 6 before the fight went the distance. But he couldn't do this to Logan, who was quote unquote just a YouTuber. And again, Andrew Tate won't fight Logan because he's quote unquote on steroids and does steroids. And Tate is a clean athlete. There was beef between both of them via the Sugar Sean podcast. They were both on, and Tate went on to say he's on a shit ton of steroids, and if he can get off of them, if he can get drug tested, then they would be in talks for a fight. It was immediately shut down by Logan, which was he was on about a week or two later, and he proposed that the two do an MMA event, an MMA fight in the UFC, which would be, at first he said in the UFC, and then he went on to say, or I think Suga and his coach said, MMA fight with the first round rules of boxing, second round rules of kickboxing, and then third round rules of MMA, wrestling, striking, and kicking. I don't know if they were serious. I don't think Logan would consider that because Tate would be good at 2 of the 3, and Logan would automatically be at a disadvantage. I would love to see Logan or Jake knock Tate out and the top G BS. This again was before the Crown Jewel event and before the injury, before the face-off of Tate and Jake Paul. And I think that it's going to be a while before Logan's even ready to talk about his next fight in either boxing or for the WWE. For the first time ever, we saw a War Games match on Survivor Series. This kind of was a very new twist to me, being a newer WWE fan. I was enjoying the traditional 5-on-5 elimination matches and the Raw versus SmackDown aspect of Survivor Series, but the War Games aspect was pretty cool. The build was still there, and the matches were awesome. The Bloodline won and Team Bianca won, which I got both of those right. And there was a little drama afterwards. Kevin Owens did an unplanned spot with Roman, and it made Roman bursted his eardrum, and he was very unhappy about that when they got backstage. And then the Monday after War Games, there was some tension with Solo Sikoa and the rest of the Bloodline, even though Jay and Sami are now all Usi. And that was some WWE news on Survivor Series War Games, which the press conference afterwards, Triple H was asked if they would continue doing War Games or would continue doing the traditional Survivor Series, and he said it was up in the air, said that they'll see how it goes year to year maybe, and that Survivor Series War Games was the most watched Survivor Series in the history of the event. which I believe it was a great event. I think most people were watching and hoping for a Sasha Banks return, which didn't happen. And I think most people rather would have had the show stolen by a Sasha return than watching Shotzi versus Ronda. I know I would have. College football news. Penn State is up to number 8 in the CFP rankings. They might get a decent bowl game, but I have no faith in them playing any better. I lost and stopped paying attention after they lost to Ohio State. That was the last game I actually watched, and I was working, and I was really listening to it more than I was watching it. But it was a close game, and it was close until it wasn't. And also, Joey Porter Jr. has declared for the draft, which is sad, and I hope Sean Clifford follows suit because he's been at Penn State way too long. 6 years, he's given it all. Is now the all-time passing yards leader at Penn State, which is huge, and I'm happy for him, but I'd like to see him do well in the NFL if that's what he chooses to do. That was my college football news. I don't know if the backstage heat has something to do with what the WWE is rumoredly planning to do for the Royal Rumble, but Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns is the plan for the first premium live event of the year. Sami Zayn is reported to face Roman at Elimination Chamber, which is February 18th. So that is potentially playing into the fact that Sami does turn on the bloodline and will ultimately lead to Sami and Kevin at WrestleMania against the Usos for the tag titles, which could free up Roman for returning Rock to happen at WrestleMania 39, which would also mean if Cena's then free, if The Rock comes back and Cena also comes back, Cena can take on Logan, and there's been rumors that even Stone Cold Steve Austin wants to come back and has been working out, trying to get back in shape. He kind of said people can say whatever they want, that he was just tired of looking like crap, so he started working out again. But I think Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back, I think a match with Pat McAfee would be fantastic. I think Stone Cold versus Seth Rollins would be fantastic if he doesn't continue the feud with Theory into WrestleMania, and if Theory's free and they go Stone Cold and Seth, then a Logan Paul, John Cena, and Austin Theory triple threat for the U.S. title would be phenomenal. That's if Logan is back up and healthy by then. And as I said, The Rock and Roman are rumoredly planned for WrestleMania 39. I don't know how they would get him to return, where he would return at. Again, I thought Sasha Banks was going to return in Boston, but they didn't. Charlotte Flair posted a picture of her in her wrestling boots on Instagram yesterday, and that's got me thinking that she's ready for a return. Some soccer Lombardi news. The U.S. men's national team made history, and for the first time in 92 years, they have multiple shutouts in a World Cup and are also moving on to the knockout round. And this only happened in one other time, which was 1930. Again, I'm going to be jumping around from news to news, sport to sport, entertainment. Tom Holland and Zendaya are reportedly engaged. This was a couple days ago I saw this. Again, Tom Holland has signed a deal with Marvel for Spider-Man's 4, 5, and 6 and the Avengers movies and a Disney Plus TV show. And Zendaya has Euphoria. What's this going to do to their acting careers if they're getting engaged and they want to? It's been reported that Holland wants to start a family as well. This was on Monday night, and it was the same night that the Steelers got a very much needed win and they have now won 12 out of the last 13 games they've played on Monday night. They're now 19-3 under Mike Tomlin on Monday nights, and I don't think Mike Tomlin is on the hot seat if he has one bad season, and if they do end up having a losing season, if they can't hit 500, it's not the end of the world. They're in a rebuild. It was bound to happen sooner or later. doesn't take the fact away that he's a Hall of Fame coach. It doesn't take away from the fact that Kenny Pickett's our guy, and he's going to be our guy. And it doesn't take away from the fact that they're a very young team, and they could still end up playing spoiler for a lot of teams, including the entire AFC North, which is very inconsistent from top to bottom. The bottom being the Browns, which they'll always be at the bottom of the division. They will always be the little brothers, no matter what. The Ravens, they get a lead and then they blow it. They play down to their opponent, and if they do that against the Steelers, it's going to be dangerous because that's always how their games go. The Bengals are just banged up, and the Browns are just the Browns, as I said before. This is my Monday Night Raw review from Monday, November 28th. It was in Norfolk, Virginia, and the first hour was commercial free. I wasn't expecting this. I got an update from the WWE app saying commercial free. Becky Lynch kicks off a commercial free hour of Monday Night Raw. She sure did. She came back with the man. She's now back to the man. Definitely back to her Becky Lynch babyface, fans loving her. And her first program back is going to be with Bayley, and I'm here for it. She went into the crowd and did her promos from the crowd, talked to the fans, got them involved. It was great. She ended up getting attacked by Dakota Kai and Io Sky that came down through the crowd. They ran up into the concourse, and then Bayley and all three of them were ganging up on her. I'm shocked that Bianca and the other three of their team didn't get involved, but this is going to be Becky on her own versus Bayley, which makes sense. It's great program, and I'm excited for it. It got moving on into the matches. Rhea Ripley and Mia Yim were ended in a DQ that led into a mixed tag match with the Judgment Day versus the OC, and Rhea Ripley got the pin. And then the Street Profits came back. They faced the Alpha Academy. They got the win. The Bloodline came out and took the ring. This is where the stressful moments with Solo happened, and they were Jay. It was very heartfelt and emotional. There was a group hug. Solo was about to do it, and then Kevin Owens interrupted them. And Saturday night, everyone in the Bloodline threw the ones up except Solo. He stood there with his arms crossed. Roman noticed this. Immediately, I thought this is something to watch for. Everyone's planning and talking about Sami Zayn turning on the Bloodline. Sami Zayn just proved that he's loyal to them. And Solo has been to himself. I mean, I know that's part of his persona, that he's solo, and he hasn't really seen or talked to Roman and the Usos all that much over the years. And I think if they were to turn him, they would have to say that that's how they could bring The Rock back. They could say that they could have Solo attack Roman or the Usos, and then him say, I was sent by one of the elders, but it's not the elders that you think. And then boom, The Rock comes back. However they want to do it, I guess. It was very emotional, though, the group hug. Solo was about to do it, and then boom, Kevin Owens' music hit, which set up the main event of Kevin Owens and Jey Uso, which Kevin ended up winning. And this was also weird, something to pay attention to. Solo swept the legs from under Kevin Owens, but then it didn't really do much. It was I think it was just to stay face with the Usos that he tried, and he was being the enforcer. I still think there's something there, though. After the Bloodline, that's when the Profits beat the Alpha Academy, and Otis and Chad Gable, they're great, they're entertaining, but they're still kind of boring to me. Chad Gable is great, though. I do like Gable. Chad Gable. Otis, I can take him or leave him. The new United States champion, Austin Theory, came out for a promo and then was interrupted by Seth. I was surprised by this, that he wasn't then interrupted by Bobby Lashley, and they're going to continue the three-way feud. I think that Austin Theory and feuding with Seth is a way to get him back to where he should have been. As Triple H said in the press conference following Survivor Series, Austin Theory's career was dead 2 weeks ago, and now he's the new United States champion. They did a face-to-face in the ring, and I think they're going to continue this feud into the Royal Rumble and possibly all the way to Mania, which would be cool. Very cool. Again, I thought it was going to be Lashley and Rollins, the way they were looking at each other after the match was over. And it was Lashley's fault. It was a terrible spear, and Seth lost on that. Next up was The Miz and Dexter Lumis in an anything goes match. I'm tired of this feud. I just want it to end, which it did, I guess, for now. Dexter won, got his contract, his WWE contract, and also got the money that The Miz was supposed to pay him. He was walking out of the arena and then was giving money to the fans. The Miz came up, attacked him from behind, and took the money away, and then walked right into a super kick from Johnny Gargano. I could see this going month to month, pay-per-view to pay-per-view, with The Miz taking on Gargano, and then Lumis, and then ultimately wrapping up with Lumis and Gargano versus Miz and Tommaso Ciampa at WrestleMania. I mean, props to The Miz. He knows his role right now. He's done everything that you can do, so he's really only on the card and on the shows to be that star, be the cocky heel, and help out younger talent, up-and-coming talent look great. And he does a fantastic job at it. Dexter submitted The Miz, and it was great. Dexter's, I don't know, from what I've seen of him in NXT, he was kind of weird, and that's what Graves and Kevin Patrick were also saying. Graves is, again, really good on commentary for Raw. Kevin Patrick just isn't it, but that's a whole nother story. The next match was Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae, and besides Dakota Kai being a women's tag champ, I don't know why she's in singles competition, but Candice LeRae doesn't really do anything. Maybe that's just because I haven't seen her wrestle before, besides the 1 or 2 matches that she's had since she's come back. But I will say she's growing on me. I would rather see her on SmackDown, though, to help the roster out there. And then the main event was KO and Jey Uso. And again, something I think is going on with Solo Sikoa. Saturday night, he, again, just kind of ignored everyone as they threw the ones up. And there could be something boiling there. So the card was that. Probably should have just waited until this weekend to do this so then I could wrap up SmackDown and talk about that too. But I wanted to do this because I haven't posted a full podcast in a while. So it is Wednesday night and Dynamite was on. I only watched for MJF. Who happened to reveal a new title, then roasted all of Indianapolis and professional wrestling fans everywhere. Also then turned on William Regal, the man who helped him win the title. And it was great. It was a great promo. He quoted the email Regal sent him 7 years ago, and he's using that. He was great. So much for him possibly turning babyface, which I thought maybe he was heading in that direction, but that's definitely not the case. He was just as cocky as ever and said that he's barely going to be seen. He's not going to wrestle as much. He's not going to be a fighting champion. He's going to be the attraction. He's going to make Andre the Giant or Bruno Sammartino roll over in his grave because of how long his title reign is going to go. He's going to use this as a bargaining chip in the bidding war of 2024. And he took out William Regal, the man who helped them win. Also, the man who only signed a 1-year deal with AEW is now been written off TV for who knows how long. Who knows if he'll even come back to AEW TV, and who says he doesn't show up in WWE under Triple H. Saturday night on before War Games, Triple H tweeted a video of Regal saying War Games over the last 4 years and just said, "Tonight won't be the same without you." So that was the first spark of the rumor mill, saying that Regal's gonna immediately go back to WWE after his contract with AEW is up, which should be around November or December, this month or the next month, or I mean, possibly by the Royal Rumble, which would be very interesting to see him come back. And speaking of comebacks and returns, Ruby Soho returns on Dynamite and attacks and confronts Ty Conti. That was okay. That set up the main event of the Elite versus Death Triangle in the Best of 7 series for the AEW Trios Championships. And I hope, I don't know, I'm not watching. I didn't watch, so I'll have to check Twitter to see who won. But the Elite, their entrance song is now a banger. And just like their banger, I'm going to wrap up this banger of an episode 32 of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast by reminding you to follow me on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and join the Facebook groups of Exceptional Sports News and Sleeper Sports Media. Also, you can find this on Spotify and on YouTube. Please go follow me on all the social medias that I listed. And thanks for watching, listening, and viewing all of my content, and I'll see you next time.